Buying a new or used car right now at the end of December, it's like taking candy from a baby for most people that know how to negotiate. However, I still see guys doing stuff like this. Now, can you spot what he's doing wrong in this? He said, would you trade a 2025 LT Trail Boss with 22,000 miles for a 2026 Limited Tundra if you could keep the same monthly payments? Now, there's the problem, right? He's shopping by monthly payment, not by the price of his trade-in and the price of the vehicle he's buying. This is a huge problem, but also people start out from the wrong perspective. They start out from the dealer's perspective. They say, well, let's start out from the MSRP or the list price and let's negotiate down. That's wrong. The one thing you need to know, and the biggest leverage point in your deal, is negotiating from the price you set up. And we're going to show you how to do that in this video. Now, most people know end of December is sort of the easiest time to negotiate. I mean, you almost don't have to try. I'll show you some examples here as to why. Check this out. You got a 2026 Silverado, 0% financing, and they're giving cash back. Same thing, F-150, although the 2025's 0.9% financing, $1,000 cash back. Tacoma leases $199 a month for 24 months. Obviously, GMC, like Chevy, 0% financing. Ram is also offering 0% financing, and I think you can do the cash back or the financing. I don't think you can bundle both. Ford Rangers are $3,700 down, $289 a month, and Tundras 0.9% financing, and then they also have really crazy lease deals. But you'll notice a theme here. It's always financing, right? They always want you to look at your monthly payment. They don't want you to look at the price of the vehicle and the price you're getting on trade, and that's what you need to be focused on. These are our leverage points, so let's talk about those. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of examples. The first one will be a new truck, just as an example of how I would negotiate and how I think everyone needs to start reframing the negotiation with dealers. The second one will be a used vehicle, kind of a mainstream car like a Toyota Camry, how I would negotiate that as well. And the concepts apply to any new vehicle, any new truck. And then when I show you the used concepts, same thing. It's going to apply pretty much across the board. There are some differences, like with Toyota, you might have a little less negotiation power on the used market because they tend to hold their value a little bit more. You just have to adjust that mentally. Now, the first concept is called price anchoring. You want to start from the bottom up. You don't want to go from the top down when you're negotiating. That goes for a new truck, a new car, or a used vehicle. You do not want to start from this price, what you see here, or maybe MSRP and incentives, and work your way down. Now, here's how I do this very easily. With a new car, I usually try to find invoice price or at least minimum 15% off of MSRP. I usually go all the way up to 20% off MSRP when I'm making my initial offer. It seems low, it might annoy the dealers a little bit, but that's okay because I've had them actually accept those offers before when I use my feet and start to leave the dealership. I've had a couple cases where 20% off was doable, and once they realized I was going to leave, they actually gave me the 20% off. And specifically this time of year, you can get 20% off of certain vehicles. You really can. You just got to offer it. So if you look at this Ram, it says $61,040 is the MSRP. But there's always going to be some incentive cash or bonus cash. And in Ram's case, they've got about $4,500 total. So that brings it down to $56,540. However, if you go check your local dealers, you're going to find that most of them on a site like cars.com are going to be priced at $51,900. So this is a really similar truck, really similar equipment, and they're already down to $51,000. That's approaching 18% off. That's why I say never, ever get anywhere close to MSRP. Don't just take the national rebates and take the initial price, because that's what dealerships will try to do. And when you get on aggregator sites like cars.com or AutoTrader, they tend to battle a little harder for that initial low price. Now, keep in mind, this is also location dependent. I'm in Colorado, so some of these four-wheel drives tend to be, I think, a little higher price than what you might get in other parts of the country. This MSRP is $61,290. They're offering it for $51,985. Here's what I would do with this truck. I would say $61,290. What's 20% off of that? Well, that ends up being about $49,040. I would offer $49,040 on this truck. They might say no, but I'm setting that base price. And I'm going to show you another little trick. Now, I'm looking at 100-mile radius on this cars.com website. Now, watch what happens when I say all miles from my location. Now that I expanded my search, I see a lot of these vehicles down south, four-wheel drive with the same equipment, roughly the same MSRP, going for maybe a couple thousand less than what I would offer here in Colorado. Now that doesn't mean that my Colorado dealers are going to honor that, but I can use this as another leverage point to get lower and to show them that, hey, if I did want to get a plane ticket and travel, I could maybe save a couple $1,000s. You might be able to negotiate even lower than that 18 to 20% off MSRP. Especially this time of year, dealers are going to move inventory. They're not caring about the profit per vehicle anymore. They just want to move numbers. So between now and January 1st, this is the easiest time to negotiate. And really all you need to do is just kind of lowball offer, be willing to walk out of the dealership, be super polite, and I bet they're going to call you back before the end of the month. So don't worry about invoice price. Set your price 18 to 20% below MSRP. That's going to be probably better than what their invoice price would be. That's the end of the year plan. It's super simple. This is the easiest time of year to negotiate, especially on new vehicles. Now let's jump over to used vehicles. Now let's take this run-of-the-mill 2023 Toyota Camry SE. It's got 20,000 miles. My local dealership is asking $27,300. Here's how I would come up with the price that I would offer as this base anchor price and try to work up from to see if they'll accept my offer. So just to give you a little bit of confidence here, I can almost guarantee you that this dealership did not pay anywhere close to trade-in value. If they did, it's very rare. They almost always pay auction value or black book value for these vehicles, which is lower than trade-in value. So what you're going to do is find the trade-in value on any used car that you're looking at. You're going to find the trade-in value, and that's what you're going to offer as your base anchor price. Easiest way to do that is kbb.com. I'm going to show you what I would offer on this Camry. So here you go. This Camry is probably worth about $21,000 to $24,000. That's trade-in value. They didn't give anywhere near that. I don't care what any dealership says. Nobody's giving trade-in value on vehicles. I've traded in probably 50 or 60 cars at this point in my life. I have never seen, other than a rare occasion, where they're giving trade-in value. And if they're giving people trade-in value, they're usually hosing them on the price that they're selling the vehicle for, that they're buying, they're trading into. So let's say trade-in value is $22,703. That's going to be my base offer. Now, the dealership might get mad. They might think that's insane. That's crazy. They're still making money. You just have to confidently understand that at that price, $22,703, they are still making money on that car. When you go in and offer a price like that, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel bad. Have you ever seen the dealers that all the glass and the atriums and everything? They have enough money. They can afford it. And at the end of the year especially, they want to move inventory. And if they don't accept that offer, it's really simple. You just walk out. Or you can come up to a value that you feel comfortable with for that vehicle. Again, this depends on the vehicle, the make, the model, everything, supply and demand. This isn't going to work with a Bugatti or a Porsche GT3. It's going to work with most general cars though. All right, so let's recap a little bit. New cars, you're looking for invoice price or just offer probably 18 to 20% below what the MSRP is. That's generally a little bit more than invoice, and that's a good anchor point. So you find your anchor point, whether it's new or used. The second thing is, if you have a used car that you're looking at, use Kelley Blue Book trade-in value as your anchor price. It's a really simple way to do it. You're not wasting any time. And then work your way up from that price. So if you find a vehicle that's $27,000, you offer them $21,000 or $22,000, they say no, that's fine. Now you can work up from that price. It's very difficult to work down from the prices that they have. Now, this video is coming out on December 26, 2025. You have almost a week now between now and the end of the month. I have seen in my lifetime the best deals, the most willingness to negotiate from dealerships at the end of the month, especially the end of the month, the end of the year. I've made insane offers on vehicles even last year and got them to say yes because they just wanted to move the inventory. You can save thousands of dollars at the end of the year. Now, once we get into January, some of these deals are going to expire, not all of them, and we'll see how the manufacturers go. But right now, there's tons of stock on vehicles. The one caveat I would say is it's very tough with Toyota, especially with Toyota. For whatever reason, It's just more difficult to offer 18 to 20% below MSRP. They just don't accept it. So that's why, when people say Toyota holds their value more, it's not necessarily that they're holding their value more all the time. They are with their second gen Tundras and certain vehicles, but it's more that they just don't discount their cars as much as other manufacturers from the get-go. So if you're looking at a Tundra, a Sequoia, or a Camry, it's going to be more difficult to get that base price down, but Toyota generally right now has better lease deals, better financing. So hope this helps you guys out. Don't get hosed out there. And especially if you're trading in your vehicle, don't get hosed on your trade-in. So don't go get a good value on the vehicle that you're buying and then get hosed on your trade-in because they're just going to get you on the negative equity. So always keep that in mind. Know what your trade-in value is and just don't do the deal if you don't have to. You don't have to trade your vehicle in. You're in a terrible situation. You shouldn't be trading for a vehicle that costs more anyway. Hope this helps you out. Thanks for watching. Till next time.